Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back for another weekly United where we wrap up the week in the world of Manchester United, the biggest club in world football, even if we are sitting in 8th in the Premier League at the moment. Manchester United create them clicks, create them headlines and create plenty of stories, even when it's a quiet one like the winter break for Manchester United. The players and the staff have travelled out to Marbella after a short little break. A lot of the players would have took personal holidays, which is why we've seen pictures of them with their partners and stuff in Dubai and various other places. But now they've rejoined back up with the squad and they're out to Marbella where they're taking part in a warm weather training camp, and hopefully it can act like a little bit of a pre-season for the rest of the campaign and allow the likes of Bruno Fernandes to settle into the team and find out how he's going to function in that team with the players around him. Unfortunately for Manchester United, and because of the coronavirus issue that's obviously going on around the world at the moment, McKola cannot be with that team in Marbella. The reason for that is because he's recently travelled into England from China in the last 14 days. If he was to travel back out of England and try and get access to England again, it'd be very difficult because of everything that's surrounding the coronavirus and the difficulties on travelling if you've come from China in the last couple of weeks. So he's stayed back in Manchester, in England, taking part in his own training sessions, trying to get ready and fit for the rest of the season ahead. The likes of Paul Pogba and Lee Grant have also stayed back in England. Paul Pogba has taken the cast off his boot now, off his foot now, from the operation that he had, so hopefully he's much closer to getting back into training when the team do return from Marbella. Scott McTominay has returned to training, as has Axel Tuanzebe, which is great to see as well. Whether they'll be ready for that game against Chelsea, who knows, but hopefully it's good signs and there'll be no repercussions with their injuries, because if we can get McTominay back, get Pogba back, get Axel Tuanzebe back, get close to a full squad for the remainder of the season, it'd really help. It'd really help. Away from the playing staff and the manager and the winter break, a lot has been going on this week, and we're going to start with the story that Manchester United have complained to the IPSO over the Sun's coverage of the attacks that we saw on Ed Woodward's house. I say attacks, it was a flare thrown over a gate and a few chants, etc. outside the house that nobody was in. Now, obviously, you don't want to see that. For anybody, you don't want football to spill out and potentially affect someone's house or livelihood or whatever. But we all felt it was a little bit dodgy at the time, because the Sun had sent a photographer and a journalist along to this protest at Ed Woodward's house. Now, the club have complained about the Sun's involvement in this because they believe the Sun have got a tip-off, they've gone with them, they were there and they could have prevented a crime from taking place, which, if you look at the Sun's shady records over the years, you'd see this is the kind of thing that they would be happy to do. Now, the Sun have come out and denied this and said it's their journalistic right or whatever, but Manchester United are complaining to the IPSO over the Sun, and hopefully this can be the part of the end of them. I don't think it ever will be, because the bastards somehow get clicks, get sales, get all that kind of stuff, and they have a big say in not just the football landscape and the journalistic landscape, but in the worldly view. When you look at the way News UK and Rupert Murdoch and all that, those guys function. So to be able to challenge them and Manchester United to do it would be great. Let's hope United win in that battle. But I think what it does put to bed is there was obviously a lot of talk about, because Neil Ashton is the PR guy for Ed Woodward, there was a lot of talk that he had organised that. Now, I think because the club have, that wouldn't surprise me, by the way, PR guys trying to make things happen to, that wouldn't surprise me. But now that the club have complained against it, would we complain against something that Ed Woodward knows that has been organised by his PR guy? Probably not. So it does look like it dispels that conspiracy theory anyway. Fuck the Sun though. Imagine, it's actually nuts. They've been told about that. They've gone there with a photographer and everything. Absolutely nuts. How can you imagine full-time Devils, yeah. Some fans told us, we're going to protest at Ed Woodward's house. And we go along and record it in that. We'd be getting cancelled left, right and centre. Yet, journalists from The Sun will still be allowed inside Old Trafford, will still be allowed into press conferences, will still be allowed to do this, that and the other. Whereas if we were to do that, season tickets cancelled, police cases, this, that and the other. Mental. In before the team joined up again together, as I was saying, everyone was on holiday, and as a result, there was a few quotes flying around from players discussing the season that has gone on so far, and it was Fred's comments which were very, very interesting. And he said there's a little bit of vanity in the Manchester United team at the moment, and maybe that not everybody is on the same page, and it was kind of a call to action and a call to arms from Fred. I really did enjoy his comments and what he was saying, you know, telling the boys that we don't have to try and solve everything on our own. We are in this together, and sometimes maybe players are too maybe selfish-minded or think they can sort everything out on their own, and we just need to get on the same page. And I like that. I'll read some of the quotes out now. Fred said, "Vanity is an issue. We need to stop this and just run on the pitch. We just need to be on the same page, and today some players have different objectives and want to solve problems alone, and this is wrong." Now, I don't think he was particularly digging out players. I think when he said different objectives, I think he means on the pitch. I think he means tactically. I think he means making decisions in their head, and I think he's bang on. Absolutely bang on. He's been one of our better players this season. I think if we were to decide player of the season right now, I think it'd be Marcus Rashford, clear as day. But Fred wouldn't be too far behind him, that's for sure. So as always, every single week, even when the transfer window's closed, we will get a little bit of action regarding transfer news and transfer rumours. And yet again, Maddison and Grealish have popped up in this week's Weekly United. First up, James Maddison, and there were stories here. We've got the Express, but there was plenty of stories floating around saying Manchester United have changed their stance on James Maddison transfer as the Red Devils identified an alternative. And they based that story basically says that James Maddison's close to a deal, a new deal at Leicester City. Manchester United not really keen on pushing a deal ahead because of the cost it could be, and of course Leicester City being in a strong position in terms of financially. All that kind of stuff means that Manchester United have changed their stance on James Maddison and have identified the alternative being Mr. Jack Grealish. And this led to stories then from the Sun and from all those usual suspects saying the Aston Villa star Jack Grealish has agreed terms over a Man United summer transfer. Now, agreed terms is very, very misleading, and it's there in quotations because they know themselves it's absolute bollocks. He has not agreed terms with Manchester United. That article goes on to say Jack Grealish is kind of made up his mind. He's content in the fact he's going to leave Aston Villa this summer. He's edging towards a move to Manchester United, and that's his personal decision, despite interest from the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona and co. And Manchester United, the story being that we've dropped our interest almost in James Maddison to focus on Jack Grealish. Now with Villa, you know, if they go down, it'll be very easy to get. If they stay up, I still think it'd be easy for United to get. And when you think of the transfer fee that he could attract, 50 to 80 million pounds for Jack Grealish, depending whether they're in the Championship or the Premier League. Whereas James Maddison, you're looking at 80 to 100 million pound potentially from Leicester City. Jack Grealish, I think, probably makes sense financially in terms of the player that he is as well. I'd love James Maddison. I'd love Jack Grealish. I feel like I've been saying this every single week in the Weekly United for the last couple of months. I'd love them both, but I'd edge towards Jack Grealish as well, and that's why I'm delighted with this news that is coming out. But of course, it is reports. But of course, they're just newspapers talking trash. They love to talk trash. So let's not get carried away yet. But I am quite confident we could tempt Jack Grealish to Man United in the summer, that is for sure. Also this week, Mason Greenwood did an interview with Soccer Bible and was asked if you could choose a 4x100 metre sprint team, so a relay race team, who would be in it? And he picked Diogo Dalot, Brandon Williams, Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford. So that leads me to say, who would be in your relay race team for Manchester United? Who would be in your team? I would go with... Now Greenwood's got an insight. I would have thought Danny James might have been in there somewhere. Rashford would defo be in it. Danny James. Martial's got pace when he wants to use it. And Dalot's a good one. But Brandon Williams, it makes sense as well. I'd probably trust Mason Greenwood's judgment, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who would be in your Manchester United relay race team? Usain Bolt, possibly. Could count him. He's a United fan, innit? That's cheating though. Right then, last up. Now this wasn't even in my plan this week, but I'm going to talk about it. It's the Lukaku revisionism. Now, absolutely fantastic game in the Milan derby. Inter Milan winning 4-2. AC taking the lead 2-0 at half time. Ibrahimovic with a goal and an assist. Then in the second half, Inter Milan staged a fantastic comeback. Lukaku's goal wrapping it up to make it 4-2. I think that's his 20th goal of the season. He's doing fantastically well for Inter Milan. Had no doubt he would do well for Inter Milan. He's a goal scorer. But at the same time, this revisionism surrounding Romelu Lukaku, you go online, you see tweets, did United make a mistake? Did we do this? Did we do... The only mistake that we made was not replacing him. Letting go of Romelu Lukaku wasn't the issue. Rashford's got basically the same amount of goals. It was, he's 20 goals. If he didn't get injured, he'd be above that at the moment. The problem for Man United was not replacing him. Rashford, Martial, Greenwood was never enough. Yes, if you add Lukaku into that, that's a better forward line. But we should have replaced Lukaku. That was the problem. We let Lukaku go, we let Sanchez go, and we never replaced them. And that's why I hate this narrative that's building. United shouldn't... We should have replaced him. Call out the right things. It's the conversation I had with Gary Neville at the start of the season all over again. We should have replaced Romelu Lukaku. We should have replaced Herrera. We should have replaced Sanchez. We didn't, and now we're feeling the pain for it, and we felt the pain for it through this whole season. Could cost Ollie his job. It just frustrates me. Lukaku's doing really well, but the reasons to let him go were right. He didn't really fit in with the way we were playing. You'd rather see someone like Rashford or Martial or whatever up top. He wasn't performing great in his last season. His head was gone. He clearly wanted to leave. What was the point in keeping hold of him? This revisionism is daft. I wanted Lukaku to sign for United. I wanted him to succeed at United. I want him to succeed in Italy because I actually do like him as a, when you listen to his interviews and you see him speak, he's a good lad. I want him to do well. But this revisionism, does my head in. Anyway, before I explode here on AdamMcKola TV, thank you for tuning into the Weekly United. Thank you for locking into AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting and sharing. And of course, get your thoughts in the comments below on your relay race team and your thoughts on the Romelu revision and everything else that we've been talking about as well. Get your thoughts in those comments below. Make sure you're keeping it locked to AdamMcKola TV. Like, comment, share and subscribe. And for now, I'm AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.